Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm from Ukraine. Perhaps many of you can confess that you've learned about Ukraine only after the brutal Russian invasion. That is understandable. My country is not limited to war, but at the same time, many important inventions are inspired by this war. And I'm really proud to introduce you today to the Ukrainian army of drones. Numerous times on my channel I repeat, I did not believe full-scale war is possible in the 21st century. I thought we've learned the lessons from the previous 20th century, but Russia decided to attack. Now, Russian war in Ukraine is the largest war since the Second World War. But it is the war of the 21st century with numerous modern technologies used. And let's talk more about radio-electronic warfare and drones. Drones are here for a really long period of time, but most of us associated them with traveling, gaming, filming some beautiful landscapes or events. But Russian war in Ukraine taught us they are also perfect means of warfare. For all Ukrainians, Russian war started not in 2022 but in 2014, with the annexation of Crimea and territories like Luhansk and Donetsk regions. It is also the year when Ukrainian armed forces decided to use drones for the first time, but it was more of an experiment. There were a couple of drones in a number of units that were not taken seriously, more like a testing ground. What can they do on a battlefield? 2022 started with a full-scale invasion, and it was an extremely challenging time for Ukrainian armed forces. Of course, we are strong, of course, we are brave, but we definitely lack a lot of means and machinery to protect our people and boundaries. And that's why Ukrainian soldiers started inventing, thinking about all possible ways to fight. And this is how drones became extremely popular on Ukrainian battlefields. Many of people who volunteered to join Ukrainian armed forces were gamers, IT specialists, and they felt the potentials that drones have to perform various surveillance and intelligence tasks. In 2022, the year begins with a very popular name of Bayraktar. Many of you have heard a song about this kind of drone. So why did Ukrainians compose songs about Bayraktar? Because Bayraktar was a serious game changer, especially at the start of the invasion. This is a Turkish technology, and such drones can actually carry 4 heavier bombs that have laser targeting. People can operate them either on the field or even program them and control on a really faraway distance. What is most important, Bayraktars are responsible for the destructions of dozens and hundreds of Russian tanks and other machinery. And perhaps the most important performance by Bayraktar was its coordination with Ukrainian Neptune missiles for the destruction of the Russian warship Moskva, the one that we have sent so far away at the very start of invasion and that actually became the symbol of Ukrainian resilience. It's not that easy to buy many Bayraktars, and they are produced at a certain pace, but at the same time, ordinary civilian drones can perform a lot of tasks. And that's why Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian volunteers buy a lot of drones from China. Yes, I know China does not seem like the best ally in this war, but they produce numerous types of drones that are possible to buy. What is important to understand, Ukraine as a state officially cannot buy these drones because China will not sell them. But fundraising initiatives, various volunteering groups and charity funds are able to do that. simple individuals do that to supply Ukrainian armed forces later. For example, a very popular model of a civilian drone that was previously used for other tasks is DJI Mavic. I am sure you've heard about them, and they were first used for surveillance and intelligence, spying what Russian troops are doing nearby, saving Ukrainian lives. But you know that Ukrainians are extremely creative and we are protecting our motherland, so all the ideas travel to our minds really quickly, and Ukrainian soldiers, operators of drones, started modifying them, and very quickly these Mavic drones were able to drop bombs and grenades on nearby units of Russians. Such drones like Mavics turned out to be super effective, and we were using this technology, but Russians are good at copying. And very quickly they started buying more and more Mavics from China. We also have to keep in mind that China definitely supports Russia and simplifies the procedures and timings for such buyings of drones. When Russians are buying a lot of drones, you may have problems buying them for yourself. What is really absurd that like two enemy armies are buying it in one country, China. So another type of drones that Ukrainian soldiers decided to adapt to our needs is FPVs. These are extremely cheap, simple drones that were previously used for gaming. Ukrainian soldiers made it possible to reconstruct these drones so that they turn into kamikaze drones carrying heavy loads of explosives. They can travel to different dangerous locations and destroy. What is good, with the help of such FPV drones, we managed to burn lots of Russian machinery near Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Vuhledar. Approximately, we've destroyed $100 million worth Russian machinery. $100 million. So imagine one cheap drone that will cost less than $800 can destroy $1 million tank. So an ordinary civilian drone on its way to become a fighter machine goes through a process of reconstruction. And this reconstruction can be performed either on a battlefield by soldiers and drone operators themselves or by various volunteering groups that work in the rear in Ukraine. Russia started using this approach too, and now they produce 10 times more redesigned drones than we do. Remembering they are able to do that on a safe territory while war is still on the way to Moscow. Necessity is the mother of invention, and the understanding that drones can be a serious game changer in this war inspired Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian researchers to develop Ukrainian drones. And now we have a couple of names that are growing and becoming more and more effective, like Leleka, like Furia, like Valkyria. They can fly approximately 30-kilometer distance and spend 3 hours in the air. I am sure you have heard about a number of successful marine operations with drones, and actually Russian Black Sea Navy escaped from the Crimea. This is also the result of work of Ukrainian marine drones. First of them were bought from abroad, but now we have Ukrainian developments that can work in extremely unusual and complicated for drone operators environment, like the Black Sea and Dnipro River. They are also used during the creation of a Plazdarm on the left bank of Dnipro River in Kherson region, which is one of the main victories of Ukrainian counter-offensive in the second half of 2023. Another important development that Ukrainian researchers are working on are unmanned drones that are able to carry explosives, weapons, and bring supplies to those Ukrainian units that are in extremely hot environment where it may be dangerous to travel by car. Also, people try to use drones for the evacuation of the wounded. This is a big war. Big war demands a lot of supplies. We are still waiting for F-16 to travel to Ukraine and help us from the air. We need long-range missiles to cover our infantry, but at the same time we understand that drones can be serious game changers in this war. That's why many Ukrainian volunteer initiatives were united together with the Ministry of Digitization on the creation of the Ukrainian Army of Drones. I know that many of you want to support Ukrainian armed forces, so helping, donating people who are working, buying, developing drones is definitely a good idea. Don't worry, this is not a drone that could have been useful on the front lines. This is an old one. But thousands of similar babies are protecting Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian territories on the front lines. Drones are real game changers. $800 drone can destroy $1 million tank, and it is really good if it's a Russian tank. This is the war of the 21st century where you have to be creative, especially if you're still waiting for so many supplies. Subscribe, and thank you so much for being patrons and buying coffees so that we can make more videos about Ukraine and our way to the victory.